Did you notice anything like any difference with it being hotter?
I would, other than the number, I'm gonna go up higher like you said it would.
Yep. Normal. And actually, what I recommend for everybody is that. So I always say like training is only as good as your environment you practice in. So that's why distraction-wise, this is a really good environment. But you also want to take into account like the weather, if it's snowing, and usually, especially with these longer hooded bleeds, during the wintertime, they kind of get spazzy.
Oh, he goes nuts in the snow.
Yes.
So flips it up and runs circles.
So with like these huskies, the shepherd, German shepherds, all these longer fur-coated breeds in the wintertime, a lot of my clients will say like they're being like not compliant, whatever, they're not listening. Not telling it's because of the snow. They're so excited, and then it's the same thing. It's just adjust your number, right? But yeah, the winter, rain. Really hot, all that stuff. Even though, like, obviously, most people would not go out in the rain on purpose. I had a client where we were working up at Addison on the lakefront by like the tennis court up there, the huge open field, and just a thunderstorm just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'll train if you want, but if you want to cancel, it's no big deal. And he's like, no, I'll train. And then thunder went off, and his dog was super scared and like tried to run away from him. And I was like, oh, it was a good thing that we stayed because he didn't know that his dog, because inside the house the dog's fine.
Right.
The dog doesn't show any kind of fear towards thunderstorms or anything. And then when we were outside in it, the dog was everywhere.
Yeah.
So I told him, I was like, well, it's good that you decided to do this because now you're aware of this of your dog. Because anybody, let's say he was just out there with his dog off leash and didn't know this about him, and then that happened and his dog got spooked, he wouldn't have known how to.
Right.
One, you wouldn't have known it was going to happen, so you wouldn't have known what to do. So we were able to condition the dog. So I always recommend people, like, even though you wouldn't most likely knowingly go out there with that kind of weather and thunderstorm stuff, it's nice to know more about your dog.
Yeah, for sure.
So for him, what we ended up doing, because every time there was thunder or loud noise, his dog would spook and try to run away, is that we had to override it with the remote. So every time the dog heard the thunder, instead of running away, he'd run to the owner. This was just by default. And I've done this like fireworks, where we've had dogs doing fireworks. So we'll grab a bottle, like a bunch of bottle rockets. We'll set them off, and the dog tries to run away, and you remote that to the owner. But there's no cue, there's no verbal cue. It's like the firework is actually the cue for the dog to run away. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, if you ever see anything like that from Pablo, it's worth noting and working on just in case something happens out of the blue. Okay. Otherwise, if you step aside to cool off and it's really hot, just remember to go back down again because it's going to be more receptive to it. Okay. Any questions?
I don't think so.
All right. So,
except for Dylan. Yeah, it's ice cream cone. Very few people get that. I'm happy you got it.
I was like, why is there a face in the ice cream cone? And I was like, that looks like Vanilla hair. And then I got it. That's cool. So, I'm going to be laughing about that most fast. So what we're going to work on today's place. So we had that stationary control. Yeah. Because we have the heel, we have the recall. We keep working on that stuff. So heel tends to be the one that it's worked the most because everybody walks their dog. Recall is the most important. It takes the longest because it requires you to go somewhere to practice. Place is another super easy one. I believe it's so easy that people kind of blow it off. They're like, oh, I can do this whenever, and then they never do it, and then it's like, oh crap, I need to use it now, and then they've done no work with it. Okay, so you'll see the dogs in our facility, of course, doing this all the time. We have morning trains with dogs that are training with us. We reinforce it throughout the day, so it's not just kennel time. It's like playtime, walk time, training time in the kennel. So there's like a lot of good activities with them. So here, with the place, does he have any kind of concept of like go to your bed or something?
You like go to your bed for when we're leaving, so like put him in his crate.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha. Say go to your bed, he'll sprint over and get inside. But
sure.
He won't do that for like anything else really.
He won't do it for like his bed that's
outside. Okay, so go to your bed is like crate essentially.
Right.
Okay. So they're very much the same, but they're different. Whereas go to your bed would be his crate area, and then place or mat, however you want to phrase it, would be like go to this unenclosed area.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is like everything, we're gonna put pressure behind it. We're actually gonna dip down. What's our number currently?
47.
47. Let's go down to 20. So whenever we teach anything new, we always want to go down low. And we're not gonna start with the cue or anything. We're gonna start with giving them some guidance. So I'll have you start about 2 to 3 feet away. If you want, you can also brace it with your foot because sometimes the dogs get spooked. I don't think you will because you just came over it and just hop on it right now.
Yeah.
Right? And then you're going to lightly pull forward and you're going to start tapping on that 20. If you don't get a response, 25, 30 until it pops on. Then we're going to relax. If Pablo overshoots it, you're going to counter him with that leash pressure. And the tapping, we're not going to say anything until he hops back on. So once all 4 paws are on the actual mat, we'll release the pressure. And then we're going to wait a moment and then cue the brake and we'll repeat that a few times.
Okay.
Okay?
So I'm tapping or holding?
Tapping. We'll be tapping, yeah. Good. Praise and boy. Break. Break. Yep. 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 Attaboy.
Your moment.
So I'm going to point out right there. You saw at the end, he prematurely broke off, and you praised him. So that was just before your break. You would kick in with the taps to get him to go back on again. Okay. So all 4 paws stay on until you cue break. Okay. Yep. 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 There it is. Yeah. Right there. Good. And praise. Break. Break, break. Good. 2 more. Did he hop on by himself? Yeah. Okay, so what I'll have you do this next one when you approach it, anticipate that you might go on and like you put some pressure to stop them. You want to make sure it's the tap that sends. Okay. There we go. Yeah, boy. Okay, maybe 1 more. Very good. Before we switch to another batch, so this batch we're going to do from a little bit further away. I'm going to have you try from about 4 feet here. Okay. Do 5 of those and then we'll stop there. And you might have to choke up closer to the collar. Yeah. Tap, tap, tap. Go to take 1 little step in. Tap, tap, tap. A little bit of forward pressure. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Attaboy. Yeah. Good. And praise. Good. Yeah. 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 There he is. Attaboy.
Attaboy, Pablo.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. That works.
Come on.
We're at 20 still?
25.
25? Let's try 28.
Break.
Good. 2 more. Very good. Last one. Yep. 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 There it is. Yeah. Good job. So we're going to keep him on the mat, and then we're going to swap handlers. He might prematurely leave, which if he does, you'd want to correct that to bring him back on. Good. Alright, good. So we're going to reset real quick. I'm going to have you do a batch of closer ones. But what I'll have you start doing is changing where you're sending from. So you'll be like within 2 feet of it, but changing directions. So for dogs, they're very much just about how things look. If you always send Pablo from a particular direction, and then one day you decide to like change it up and send him to a different direction, like he's going to act like he doesn't know what he's doing because he's so used to the one way. Okay. So right off the bat, once I see he's getting some kind of comfort, I start to move all around so he recognizes the object more so than like the particular way he's going. Okay. So place, that's a good question. Place is lenient. I don't care if he sits, stands, or lays down. I just feel like he doesn't step off of his mat itself. Good. A few more. Yep. Yep. There you go. Got a boy. Yep. Good. Very good. Now we'll go back that distance that I was doing prior, about the 3 to 4 foot distance, but you're going to be sending again from different angles. Yep, yep, yep. Good. I have like 4 more Aussies that I'm training. They're all jerks.
Really?
Yeah. Pablo's the only social one.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Good. I got 1 that bites the owners. I got 3 that are super territorial with anybody coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you can't go over to their house.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pablo's never been like that.
He's a little wiggle one.
Yeah.
Good. Just a couple more. It's funny because I'll get waves of either cases, like aggression cases or obedient cases, separation anxiety cases, or waves of breeds.
Yeah.
So like last year was a wave of like blue healers, or just healers in general.
Really?
I had like 4 to 5 of them. And then right now it's just a bunch of Aussies. You know, I'll get a bunch of pit bulls.
Yeah.
It's funny how it works. Very good. And we'll hold for a second there. Praise him. So that last one was nice because you tapped and right away you shot forward, right? So that's what we're trying to do here through all this repetition is when he feels the tap, just shoot straight for the bed. With you a couple times, I don't know if you saw, he kind of buck back a bit because remote has either meant, come to my left side or it's meant to turn to me. Now it's meaning go to this place, right? So he's having to decipher what it means, and that's why that leash pressure is so important to direct him. When you go with pressure, the collar goes away. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start placing that cue. We're layering in the cue. So everything stays the same, but now you're going to cue the word place, and then tap, and then pull if needed. What I'd like to see is place tap makes Pablo go to the bed. If it doesn't, you'll just keep tapping and using that a little bit of leash pressure. And you can also take it back about a foot. You want to go a little bit further away. Okay? There we go. Good. Yes.
Great. Am I supposed to be moving around still?
Yeah, you should be moving around. Right.
Place.
Right. Choke up a little bit. There you go. And then just pressure. Yep. There it is. Attaboy. Good.
Great.
Good. 3 more. Yep, good move. Yep. There it is. Attaboy. Good job.
Great.
Couple more.
Place.
Good. And last one. Then we'll swap. Very good. So we'll keep Pablo in place. We're going to swap handlers. Yep. Good move. Yep. Good.
Another dog.
Then do the same thing, okay?
Place.
Attaboy.
Break. Place.
Very good.
Break. Place.
Good. And the last one.
Place.
Very good. And we'll pause right there. Good. So, with the pace command, it gives you stationary control. It's probably one of the client favorites because it's easy. Easy to teach and also easy to use. So we have 3 stationary commands. We have sit, down, and place. Sit and down are very strict and specific. Like you're doing this or you're doing this, right? There's no in between. With place, it's just, I don't care what you do, just don't stick off the area. And you can chew on a bone, you can play with a toy. If it was like, let's say I had a smaller dog, there could be 2 dogs on there, they could technically play on this, they just cannot step off of the area. So, let's say you go to a restaurant patio or something, you don't want to worry about what Pablo's doing, wandering, anything like that. Some clients may like a towel, they'll keep it in their car or something, and then they'll just lay that down and they'll just take place, and they'll have the dog there. The way I look at obedience is like, in a setting, if I'm going to go on brunch or something, I'm going to be distracted to have a conversation, I don't want to have to think about if my dog is in a down, because it's so strict, right? This is so much easier. It's like, I don't care if he sits, stands, or lays down, I just feel like he doesn't step off the area, so it makes it, if you're going to be more distracted, this is kind of the command that I recommend for people. If they're going to be less distracted, then they can utilize the down. It's just really just personal preference. But this can be several, like different things. It doesn't have to be one specific object. You could have like a towel for the car. You could have the dog bed in the living room. Maybe at a parent's house there's like a mat or something. It's just in the beginning you'll have to do a few reps with him to teach him like this is now the new place or another place. Okay. Dogs do learn in context. So if you have like a bed in the bedroom, you have a bed in the living room, and maybe there's like a mat in the kitchen. If you said place in the kitchen and you taught him that mat was placed, he would go to that one. He wouldn't go to the living room. Okay. So if you're in the living room, you say place, you'd go to that bedroom. So typically people put like a towel, a rug, like a bathroom mat, anything that's big enough so that he can lay on it and not be like sticking off. So like earlier, like his paws were like this, right? Now I don't care here because we were training and it's just how we landed. But like, let's say you had an elevated dog bed like this. You want to watch for state of mind. So you could be laying on it and then maybe he's completely on it, and then you turn around and 2 minutes later, just kind of like with some calls hanging off. That's because he's thinking about sneaking off of the area, okay? So like my kitty, when she was a puppy, I would place her, and then I would like go to make a sandwich, and like I'd come back 15 minutes later, and she'd be with one foot on the bed, and she'd just be like this off of it, okay? So she knew that yes, there's some kind of contact, right? So she was really playing with that boundaries. Dogs are very intelligent.
Yeah.
So if you see him like looking, good, like he's about to sneak off, you'd want to correct that, okay? It's like, let's say like right there, that was obviously like very obvious, right? But let's say he was like kind of sneaking off, and you tapped him, you might see him actually flush off first. So then you just keep promoting, and then lead him back. You don't repeat the command, you just lead him back. He hops back on, I go back to what I was doing, okay? Because in the beginning, he's gonna think that it was the area that caused the tap to happen, not his behavior, okay? So let's say he's on place, and he barks, and you want him to not bark. You say like quiet or something, and you tap him. You most likely see him pop off again. So you keep tapping and you position him. But then after so many reps of like barking correction, the dog will decipher, oh, that tap wasn't for being on the bed to tell me to get off. That tap was because I was barking. So then once the dog gets that concept, I'll promote them, they'll stop the barking and just lay down. They don't flush off anymore. Okay? But in the beginning, you're most likely going to see that. We never repeat the command. So with dogs, your new command overwrites the old command, even if it is the same command. So if you say place and he goes, and then he starts to sneak off, you go, no, Pablo, place, and he goes, you just restarted it. You didn't teach him you're not supposed to go. So that's the difference between just correcting and not repeating. Is because a lot of people repeat like down and down. And so just I tell my dog 20 times, down, and they keep getting up. Like I'm telling them down. You're resetting them. The dog breaks position, you correct them until they reposition, and then you take off pressure, and then the dog learns, oh, down means lay down and don't get up. Okay, so it's a tiny little detail, but it means a lot. Okay. Let me think here.
Is place always with the leash?
In the beginning, yes. Once he gets it, you don't need it. Because let's say like he tries to sneak off and you remote him, and he jumps off the bed. You're gonna chase him around, right? So the leash gives you something to step on or whatever. And then when I'm leading him back, like let's say Pablo went all the way over here, right? And I grab his leash and I'm tapping, you'll start to see him shoot there before you even get there. And I stop. I don't lead him all the way there. I just let the leash go. I let him completely pass on his own. Okay? Because that's already showing he's got a concept of like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. I wasn't supposed to get off. And I try to wean away what we do as much as possible early on. Because the more, like most trainers when they teach place, will place and will walk the dog all the way here. Okay? But then that becomes a part of the command. And I just want to go place, the dog goes. So that's why we didn't use any words, we were just using the pressure to get Pablo to go there. And we're already sending here, there's a couple when I saw you tap, and he just shot there, right? Yeah. So he's starting to get the concept of like, oh, when I hear this, I go here. So he's recognizing the word, and we're not having to walk him all the way there. In terms of like how far you should be able to send them, like this is pretty norm. Some of my clients want to be able to send their dog from wherever, and I say that's perfectly fine, but you're going to have to do the work. And all that is if he ended here, as we train, we would just go further and further back, and of course from different angles, until he starts to recognize it from wherever within the home. Most people don't want to do that much work; they just want the function of it, and don't mind sending the dog like from here. So it's all personal preference. There's something I was going to add on to that. Oh, there's two parts to this. The first part is the set, right? Pablo plays. The second part is the duration aspect of it. So like right now he's on the duration aspect of it because I've been talking about 3 to 5 minutes now. Okay. So when you do the sending exercise, if you each did a session 2 to 3 minutes a day, you're fine. Okay. If you're wanting more advanced plays, like more distance, then I would do an extra session apiece. With that topic in mind, okay? So like when we did, I think I talked about doing topics like with the recall, like we did the sidestep stuff, and then I was like, if you slow on the recall, then you want to focus on the speed, you don't want to do like all these things all at once because there's too much for the dog to grasp at once, right? I'll focus on one thing at a time. Right now we were focusing on just the send, and now we're just focusing on the racing part of it, right? So if you decide, yes, we'd like to be able to send Pablo from wherever, then that's your topic for those training sessions. Does that make sense? And then you might tell Rebecca, like, oh, I got as far as 8 feet away from Pablo. Okay, cool. And then you jump in. You wouldn't just start at 8 feet. You come in a little bit closer, like maybe 7 or 6 feet, to warm them up, and then you would move to 9 to 10. And you're just building off that. So whenever I make progress, I try not to digress. I try to keep it there. It's like, but the dogs learn very, very fast. It's humans that, because you're learning the skill of pinning a dog, you're developing that. But the dogs themselves learn super quick. Okay. So you have the sense, and then the duration work you can do right off the bat as long as you want, as soon as you go home. Once they learn the concept, you can start doing this part of it. I just expect that there's going to be more mistakes. So like, let's say you went home or on the way back, you're like, let's grab some brunch. And you happen to have a towel in the car and you pop it down and you place Pablo. Since he just learned it, I'm already thinking I'm probably going to do more corrections now, right? And if they're there for let's say for 2 hours, maybe he gets up 8 times and you correct down to each time, but it's very easy to tap and he goes back, right? You're already working on duration. So for him to learn duration, like earlier when he tried to step off and he tapped him, and he went back and then he laid down and now he's in a resting state, is now he's settled, now he's getting that concept of like, oh, place means go here, don't get off. Because originally it was just place break, place break, place break. And the dog thinks it's momentary.
Yeah.
So that's why we switched it up every intermittently throughout the lesson, so we can also start getting the idea of like, no, you may also be here for a little bit. So what I suggest in the beginning is when you do place, like let's say you're gonna watch a movie, grab his dog bed, have it next to you, place him, and have him with the leash. You can step on the leash and sit down and watch TV, and just have them remote hand. And then like 30 minutes into the movie, you see Pablo getting up, and like, getting up is fine, but then you see him looking like he's about to get off. You would tap there. He should reposition. If he does reposition, I keep tapping, use the leash to guide him back on. I don't say anything. He self-corrects. I go back to watching the movie. Okay? 45 minutes goes by. Tries again. That's correct. He goes back. Go back to watching the movie. That's what teaches Pablo when we send you here, you don't get off. Okay? And I try to apply it during life. Watching a movie, eating dinner, maybe you're doing computer work from home, going out for lunch and stuff, which would be like, once you've got a good concept of it. But within the home is easiest, because that's where we spend most of our time, like, not doing much. And then we build out some more realistic scenarios, okay? If him going on brunch is somewhere you want to apply it, you want to think there's going to be more distractions. And brunch is usually like an hour and a half. That in the home, because there's less distractions, I would do longer times to compensate. So like I would do a 2 to 2.5 hour place. Hop on Titanic or something, just have Pablo there for a while. And then, so you're not getting the distractions of the waiter and the food and the scents and the people and stuff, but time-wise, it is harder. So when you get to the brunch space, it's going to be much easier. Okay? Questions behind you, that's so fun. And it could be anything as long as there's a perimeter. I had someone who had a really big area rug, and they're like, would that be placed? I said, sure. It's just a really big place where your dog can technically even run laps. But as long as the dog can step off the area, I don't care. I've had people use ottomans, dog beds, yoga mats, rugs, bathroom mats, towels, blankets, elevated dog beds. It can be whatever, as long as it's, like, you can't say place. It's a perimeter.
Right.
That's the thing that you can't do, but anything that's like this that has some kind of shape and outline, you can do. Okay? Anything else on this? Good. So, I'm going to teach you something else. That's really easy. Let's go and bring Pablo, put him in a break. And we never covered stay, right?
No.
Okay. So, stay and place, two different things. So here we just said place, we didn't say stay. It's implied, and we apply it through correcting him if he breaks off the position. Stay, the way I use it is if he's already in position, So like let's say in the heel, we come to a stop, he automatically sits, right? But it's not a sit. What is it?
Stay.
Not a stay.
Please. If he sits,
Yeah, so you're in the heel.
okay.
So if you come to a stop, he
Sits.
so what's the command?
Heel.
Yes. It's a little trick question.
No.
Yeah, it's heel. Sit is built into the command, right? So if you were to move again, Pablo's inclination would be to move with you.
Right.
Okay. So since he's already sitting, human logic says you can't say sit. You could say down, but we've not taught down. We could say place, right? But for here, if I decide I need you to not move from this position, since he's already sitting, I'd say stay. Okay, so now you're differentiating. And now it's I'm going to move, you're not going to move.
Yeah.
Okay. So like let's say you're in your home, we've already taught place. Pablo happens to be on his dog bed on his own terms. He can get up then whenever he wants. But then you decide, oh, you know what? I actually need you to not move. Well, technically you can't say place. He's already doing it. Stay. Then it becomes that command. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go into a heel. You're going to walk with Pablo. You're going to come to a stop. He's going to auto sit. You're going to wait a moment. And then I use the arm closest to him. So I'll wave like this and just go stay. Don't worry about if he sees it. You know, don't like stay or anything like that. Just stay. And you're going to pivot out with your right leg. Okay? Pivot out. Just swing one fluid movement and you should be right in front of Pablo like that. Okay? And then you're going to step back. You shouldn't move. We're going to praise, right? You're going to a heel. We're walking. Stop. Auto sit. Stay. Pivot out with that right leg. Right? Now here, if you're stepping out and Pablo starts to get up, because he's used to heel, needs to move, you're going to have your leash a little bit shorter. You're going to choke up on it. When he gets up, you're going to lightly pull up and tap to position him back down into that sitting position. And you want to make sure you keep him away from you. Because if you move and he comes and he sits here, he thinks the tapping meant for him to come over here. Okay, so you're trying to keep him away from you. So he's learning that in this sense, the tap means to put your butt back down, not to come closer to me, okay? Then we wait a moment, we're going to go back to his side, we're going to praise, and then go back to that heel again. Okay? Questions? Alrighty, and I'll coach you through it too.
We're gonna go find Iris.
You're gonna go see your girlfriend, yes.
No problem. You. He's more popular than me. Good.
Stay.
Right. There you go. And back to the side. So you're gonna go back to the side, then praise. Yeah, there you go. Now praise. And heel.
Help heel.
Good. And do that one more time.
Stay.
Good. Up tap. There you go. And let's go down. Let's go to we're at 25 now.
Is that 28?
Let's go down to 18.
Help heel.
Good.
Stay.
Good. Up tap. Good. Good. Two more.
Heel.
Good. Yep. Right. Yep. Yep. Good.
Stop. Heel. Heel. Stay.
Good. Yep. Wait a moment. Yep. And relax. Up. Yep. Yep. And relax. And heel.
Heel. Stay.
There you go. That was better. You thought about it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing, but But now when you pivot out, you're gonna wait a moment, and then you're gonna do a half circle in front of Pablo, just walking around. Okay, and then you'll stop in the front again, and then you'll reposition. And you want to have your hand kind of like this when you're doing so, anticipating that he's gonna get up. Okay, so then if he gets up, tap, reposition, and then relax, and then move again. Yep. Stay. Good. 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 One more. Stay. Very good.
So should we say like good stay or do you say good? Just praise.
Yep. I just say good. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. I don't have a problem if you say good stay.
Okay.
I'm real like minimal with words, but if you say that, I don't have an issue with it.
Okay.
Heel. Stay. Good. We'll try one more, then we'll swap. Heel. Stay. Very good. We're going to keep him in that stay there. Just want to swap here. So he should stay in that sitting position. If he doesn't, we'd have to correct him. Very good. So I'm going to have you, Rebecca, start off with just the pivots, just to get him used to that with you. We'll do a few of those, and then we'll progress.
So we do use stay for like when it's time for him to eat.
Oh, sure.
So we'll put him by his bowl, have him sit down, so him stay, and then we go get the food, and then he stays.
Yep.
But we never use it for anything other than that.
Yeah, stay. So, in my opinion, it's like the least useful command. When I explain it to owners, at the time that they use it, if they get the dog food, they'll have them for sitting position to stay. The dogs aren't walking away. Other than that, most people use like one there. So that for me, it's like the least useful.
Yep.
Right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can. Do you use the release plate for him to go feed or?
Yeah, so we'll say like we'll usually make him like a high five or whatever,
Sure.
and then just say
Sure.
there he goes.
Yeah.
We still got second play.
Just a couple more. I think what people use a lot more is wait, which is like a momentary stay. You know, like when they're gonna go out the door, they say wait. The dog doesn't rush through.
Yeah.
Because stay means don't move until I release you, right? So like, if he was on his bed and decided, hey, I need you to not move for the next 2 hours, stay. That's where it comes into effect. If he was already laying down and you taught the down with remote collar, then that's when you usually stay. So then it becomes a down command.
Stay.
Excellent. So now I have you do it those half circles, okay? And then the reason why I wanted to cover this is because now you can use this with your long leash. You can make like a little kind of repertoire of things to work with would be heel, recall, and stay. So with the long leash, like you could do a recall, do your side steps, then go into a stay, and then pivot out to start seeing what its concept is between all those different words.
Okay.
So that's when I like to do a lot is I'll do a recall with the side steps because he's following, and then I go stay, and then I'll pivot out. So if he holds it, that's telling you he's got a good concept that he knows that the implied stay with the body. Because there's stay with the body and then there's stay in position. Okay. So when you do that, you do want to assume he's probably going to make a mistake, is that I choke up on that leash so that when I pivot out, I can correct him if needed. Otherwise, if he holds it, then it shows you just how well he's kind of understanding those different cues. Okay?
Stay. Heel. Stay.
Good.
Stay.
Good. Couple more. I thought about it. Good. Good. One more. Very good. So now, same thing, but you're going to do a full circle. Right? Now, when you start to get to the second half of Pablo, dogs tend to struggle here. Well, they'll start to get up to watch you as you walk around behind them. And if he does that, you would correct him into position. Otherwise, what you might also see is he'll sit down, and as you're walking, he's actually going to scoot to keep an eye on you. If he keeps his butt on the ground, I actually don't remote it. It fixes itself. Once he figures out that you're just walking around, that little like scooting thing goes away. Okay? But if he stands up or actually lifts that butt up, you would have to correct that. Okay?
Stay.
Good, that's okay. Good. Yep. Good. Try four more.
Heel.
What problem from this?
Stay.
Narcos.
Narco? Oh,
We watched
sorry.
a
Pablo Escobar.
Gotcha. I was going to say Escobar. Okay.
Yeah.
I always think P. Pablo.
Well, so I really wanted to name him Pete. And then I was like, I'm going to call him Pablo. And we kept watching Pablo Escobar.
Good.
And we're like, Pablo sounds good.
Yeah.
So we ended up going with Pablo. And I was like, it's the
So
same
you-
thing. I was like, I can still call him Pablo if I want.
Yeah. I have a dog named Obi, and one of my clients was like I brought him here with me to train, and the client was like, oh, like Obi-Wan Kenobi or whatever. And I was like, actually, I think it's Obi Trice. And then he's like, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, because I trained him since he was a puppy.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, because remember when he went to my puppy class, I was roll call, right? I'm like, and he says something like, he was like, Obi Trice, what name's him?
Yeah.
And I started cracking up, so. Do a couple more.
Thanks for being so nice.
So let me just get in your way here, Mom.
Heel.
Down in Southern Illinois. So her college freshman year, my brother is going to do the show.
Gotcha. Oh, gotcha.
Stay.
looking into getting a kitty puppy. My dad is getting old, so at least I can try to go around stuff. And we're going, yep, up, yep, yep, there you go. We're getting older.
Yeah.
So I need a successor. So we started looking for a puppy.
Yeah, if you want a wiggle bug puppy to train,
This guy?
yeah, I can give you their information.
Very good. It's going to break and then we'll swap. Good. And you're going to pick up on the same on the complete walk around.
Okay.
And then what I'll have you do is you're going to do a walk around, come to obviously Petey's side, Pablo's side. You're going to give him some praise, but then you're going to step away. Then be still in that state, man. Okay? So, but since you pet him, probably going to get distracted. That be ready to have to correct just in case, and then you do another walk around, back to your side, and so you.
Stay.
I'll put the dogs today. Step away again. Very good. Hey, just be looking at. And heel. Heel. Do a few more. Stay. Good. 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 Good boy. Yep. Good.
Stay.
Yep. 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 Good. Almost. Yeah. Good. Good. A couple more.
Yep.
Stay.
Good. Just relax pressure. Up there. Good. Pressure. Good. Do one more.
Stay.
Yep. Good. That was a good one. Excellent. Good. And break.
Break.
Very good. So, for practicing the stay, what I usually have people do if they don't have like in your case you use it with the feeding time. But like let's say you're walking with them and you get a red light, practice while you're at the red light and stuff. Or like after he poops, like you want to kind of wander and keep going, pop into a sitting position, give the stay, pick it up and all that stuff, back to the side, walking with them, see a trash can, stay step away. That's just ways to just start to incorporate it. And then now you can do a blend of the recall, stay, and heel commands with your long leash. Don't just go stay and then go 30 feet away. You're going to want to build up to it. And I also don't do recalls from stays. Okay? Because that's something that's very common, right? People say stay, they'll walk away, and then they'll say come. A couple of reasons why. One, he will pick up on a pattern of, you're going to walk away, and then he's going to see the end of that long leash, and he's going to see you doing this, and he knows what's going to come next, right? It's that he's going to prematurely run to you. That, and whenever I do stays, and I'm like in a setting where I'm away from the dog, I never release or call up from a distance because I want them to always know that I'm here when I do so. Okay, so I prevent the assumption of, did Jesse say break or something? So, because dogs are very much picture based, right? So if the dog is always used to me coming here and saying break here, then we're not going to have that problem in the future. Okay, so I just kind of prevent it from happening. Otherwise, if you do recalls from stays, it just means more work because you're going to have to correct the assumption. Because I get clients that it's just them with their dog, so there's not really anybody that can help them. So I'll tell them, well, in your case, you're going to have to do this. But then what we do is, most people, when they just walk away one time, they always call the dog, is I'll randomize when I call the dog. And then I don't always call the dog. Sometimes I'll walk back to them. So I try to break a pattern, okay? But ideally, I don't touch recalls or releases from any kind of duration or stational position away from me. I always do it when I'm in your personal space, okay? We can start doing that to see what his concept is of each command. Otherwise, because you've been using stay previously, he started off with a really good concept. Yeah. Most dogs are off the bat when the owner tries to step away, just keep following the owner, and he held it pretty good with the occasional mistake. Yeah. Okay, so that looked good. Any questions about any of this stuff? With the stationary control, sit is the shortest. Like I don't expect dogs to hold a sit for 30 minutes. Yeah. The place command or down command are the ones that are meant for like 2 hours, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. Those are meant for extended use. Sits are like momentary. So if you ever walk and you kind of like maybe run into a friend, you can have a conversation for a bit. Like you saw in some of them, he started to prematurely lay down because he was just getting comfortable. But technically, that's breaking from the position, so we have to correct it like you were. So if that's the case, and it's like, you know what, I'm going to be here for a while, I just release him. So then if you decide to lay down, it's no big deal. Okay? Anything else? So we got one more after this. If you want to think about what you want to cover, for a lot of people, it's usually like an overview, kind of reviewing everything, and then going like this, how you're going to progress it towards off-leash. So if you want to bring, you can have your long line again for next class. Otherwise, if there's something else that pops up obedience-wise, and you're like, hey, we'd like to learn this, just let us know, and then we can teach that. Otherwise, we'll most likely, I'll go over like blending everything together, like I just mentioned, and then give you instructions on practicing that towards off-leash. Okay. Otherwise, you did really well. See you guys in a week.
Sounds good.
Take care, Pablo.